Kia ora, good evening and welcome to Central News for Wednesday the 13th of August 2014. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. In today's news, a Waihi Beach woman underwent surgery last night in a Cairns hospital after being shot in the leg by a stray bullet in Papua New Guinea. Kathy Franzoy, a 40-year-old volunteer ambulance officer, was shot in a gun battle on Sunday during a volunteer trip with her 15-year-old son Luke. Mrs Franzoy was shot in Port Moresby while working as a volunteer with WA medical ships, providing healthcare to Papua New Guineans. Her son Luke has returned home to Waihi Beach. Ngāi Tahu Holdings Corporation and Tainui Group Holdings have conditionally bought GoBus from Sydney-based private equity firm Next Capital. Ngāi Tahu is the majority investor with a 2/3 share and Tainui has the remainder. The purchase is due for completion at the end of September. GoBus operates urban, school and charter bus services throughout New Zealand with leading market positions in Hamilton, Napier, Tauranga and Christchurch. Tainui Group Chief Executive Mike Pohio said GoBus had a strong regional presence, employed Waikato Tainui people and was an environmentally friendly service. The agreement remains conditional until September 30th. A century ago, thousands of young Waikato men went to fight in the First World War. Their names are on the war memorials of our towns and villages. A new project overseen by the Waikato Museum aims to put faces and stories to the names of those who served and died. Curator Dr Dan Morrow explains more about the For Us They Fell exhibition.
For Us They Fell is focused on the individual lives of those men and women from our region who served in the First World War. It will open on Anzac Day 2015 and will run through until Armistice Day 2018.
In sport, it was a multi-million-dollar punt, but it appears the Cambridge Avantidrome is coming up trumps, with New Zealand riders excelling on the world stage. Cycling was the standout sport at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, snaring 15 medals, including 6 gold. Although a controversial and not always popular decision at the time, Waikato Regional Councillor Lois Livingston said cycling's strong showing at the Glasgow Games, plus growing numbers of people taking up the sport, vindicated the council's $6 million Avantidrome grant. With Bike New Zealand making the Avantidrome its home, 80% of the Velodrome track hours used by community groups and the Gallagher Bike Skills Park popular with young riders, Waikato was now regarded as the cycling hub of New Zealand. And finally, the roofs are being put on and the walls are being put in. And now Endeavour School in Hamilton also has something else vital to its existence: students. 25 enrolments have been received so far for the new primary school in Hamilton's northern suburb of Flagstaff, with the senior leadership team appointed and applications for the first 5 teachers also beginning to roll in. Endeavour School is due to open for Term 1 2015. Time to take a look at the marine forecast now. Raglan, gale warning in force. Westerly of 25 knots, rising to southwest of 35 knots late Wednesday. Sea becoming very rough. Southwest swell rising to 4 metres, a northwest swell of 1 metre dying out. Poor visibility and showers, possibly heavy and thundery at times. I'd stay off the water in Raglan if I were you. High tide 16 minutes past midnight tomorrow morning. Bay of Plenty, westerly of 25 knots with a rough sea. Northerly swell of 2 metres dying out. Fair visibility and occasional showers. High tide 17 minutes to 10 tomorrow morning. Still to come on Central News, we discover more about a pin-up calendar. And up next, catch up with the Tokoroa High School Trust. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News. 2 teachers have taken it upon themselves to revive the Tokoroa High School Trust, and the aim is to get $1 million. Amanda caught up with them to find out how well they're getting on.
Now, Dean, tell me about Tokoroa High School. What does that mean to you?
Tokoroa High School, Amanda, it's the oldest school in Tokoroa. It's the largest secondary school in Tokoroa. It's the heart of the town. Literally, it's right in the middle of the town, and figuratively as well. It's a very, very important place to us personally, with both our young children. There's my daughter there, Olivia, looking to come through the system and into the high school. And that's kind of what this whole trust idea is all about, just trying to future-proof the school. It means the world to me personally. I attended there as a student. I've been teaching at the school for 18 years, so I've been there for a very, very long time, and I'll be there for a very long time as well.
Now, Brian, the Tokoroa High School Trust is hardly a new concept, and it was established in the 70s, but it's the last 2 years that have seen some real growth. Tell us about that.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, Dean and I were sitting around having a conversation, and the idea of the trust came up. We remembered it from 10 years earlier with being involved, attending trust dinners and fundraising events. We thought, the money was still there, and we wanted to know how we could carry that on. And, we've got sort of an ethical and moral obligation to continue that. The school's been good to us, the town's been good to us. And we got together, we contacted some of the old trustees and got feedback from them about what they had done and where they saw things going. We managed to get a team of people together to form, the trustees of the trust, and we had a few community meetings to get feedback from them just to make sure we weren't off the wrong track. The feedback from them was really positive, and then we sort of got into some of the legal side of things with the Charities Commission, making sure we had met all the legal requirements, and that process took about 18 months, 2 years. And then in the last sort of four to 6 weeks, the media has sort of come on board, the South Waikato News, the Waikato Times, and yourselves, and that's helped us to get our message out there. We've been able to link our pages to Facebook and get that out there, and as a result, sort of in that last 2 years, we've probably raised about $20,000 to $25,000 currently, and about 20 of that in the last 10 days. So.
Excellent. That is quite a lot. So you did mention that you put it out to the community. So what was the general reaction back from the staff and community? I'm just going to flick that over to you, Dave.
The general reaction, Amanda, from the staff and community has been really, really positive. I think a town like Tokoroa has been waiting for this kind of initiative for a very, very long time. And we've always been a community full of very, very energetic, very supportive people. But I think at times we've probably lacked a bit of strategy in terms of our long-term planning. A lot of our stuff tended to be short-term. And so finally, I think we're in a position now where we're looking, 2 or 3 generations, like we're saying, 2 or 3 generations down the track, to hopefully provide sustainable situations in terms of economic growth for the students of our town and our community. So.
Excellent. So, Brian, the figure you're aiming for is $1 million. So what will this be used for? Have you sort of thought of specific things? Is it going to be one-off projects or what? Tell me.
No, definitely. The $1 million is a milestone for us. It's the first step on a long journey. People say that making your first million is the hardest. We're well on the way to that now. And after that, it should come a lot easier. The $1 million, all that money is going to be ring-fenced. It's going to be locked away and never be spent. So the interest generated from it, that's what we'll be using to fund projects. And we've got sort of 3 broad categories to do with academic, sporting and cultural. A lot of it will be used to fund stuff that the Ministry of Education doesn't fund or can't fund. We've got a lot of academic excellence with families and students who may or should have gone to university, but for whatever reason haven't been able to. We're looking to be able to help them and bring them back to the town and work in the community long term. The sporting side of things, we've got 6 or 7 teams this year that are competing at the Nationals in their respective codes, and it's helping them out with extra coaching, expert coaching at the high level. Our culture groups, our school community is very strong with its culture. Our Māori and Pacifica, our Puna Vaiora group just recently won the Pacifica by Nature competition again. Out of 6 years, they've won it 5 times. And it's all the research and everything says keeping the culture alive is important. And that's what we see being able to help with.
Yeah, and so over your career as a teacher, have you found that there's been a decrease in funding from the Ministry of Education, and this is why you have to take it into your own hands?
Not so much a decrease, but it's just targeted funding. The money is for targeted funds. These things sort of sit outside of that, and what we're trying to do is just to increase the long-term benefits of that to the town and to the community. At the moment, if we can get kids to go off and train to be doctors and dentists, come back to the town looking after their people, that's what we're trying to aim for.
For more information on how to donate, contact Brian or Dean from the Tokoroa High or visit tokoroahighttrust.org.nz. Still to come, we discover more about the clean-up of the Waikato and Waipa rivers. And up next on Central News, we speak with a talented photographer as she launches a new pin-up calendar. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News. When we think of a pin-up calendar, we often think of the golden age of Hollywood with Bette Davis, Marilyn Monroe and Rita Hayworth featured on the pages. A Hamilton photographer has taken the unique pin-up look, combined it with gorgeous cars from the Classics Museum in Hamilton and produced her second pin-up calendar. Tiffany Curtis from Tiffany Curtis Photography explains how the pin-up calendar project began.
Well, it started off Classics Museum asking me to do something to sell in their gift shop. It was in their first year of opening. And being a photographer, we chose to do a pin-up calendar. So we were able to use cars from the museum, which showed off their collection. And I had a friend that I knew from high school, and she helped me out with hair and makeup and styling. She's a huge part of the pin-up sort of vintage rockabilly scene in Hamilton, and she also has her own clothing line, so she was able to dress a lot of the girls in the calendar as well. And we thought that the calendar was a good thing to sell in the gift shop because it was small and easy to post, and it was a good memento for people to take home once they'd seen the museum.
When we think of pin-up, we often think about the golden girls of Hollywood, such as Marilyn Monroe or Betty Grable. Tell me about the girls that feature in your calendar.
Well, many of them are actually models, pin-up models, and I didn't realise that before I started the project, I didn't realise it was such a big thing, and a lot of them have Facebook pages and Instagram with 40,000 followers. It's crazy, but so some of them are models, and they live and breathe the vintage and the pin-up sort of style, and the hair rollers and all the hair and makeup and clothes sort of spend hours. But a lot of them aren't models. A lot of them, this is their first time in front of the camera, which was quite cool to see. When they see their image and they see the transformation, and they just really liked the whole experience, which was cool to have the mix of models and not models. But one of the models is actually Miss Pin-Up New Zealand, which is a what would you call it, a pageant that's on in Auckland every year. So she was the winner of that, and we thought it would be cool to include her, and she was really excited about the project and sort of brought some really good sort of posing techniques and that sort of thing to the calendar, which was cool.
Tell me about the pin-up look. It's quite a unique look and definitely a whole package, isn't it?
I don't know how they do it. They must spend hours and hours in the mornings, the hair and makeup, the victory roll and all that sort of thing. It takes a very long time. Yeah, and the clothes as well. I think anywhere from 20s to 60s. Which feature in the calendar, and also some Victorian with the corset and one of the images. So it's definitely a whole package, and it's something that I've become very interested in. I don't live it and breathe it like a lot of the models do, but yeah, I think just the whole look is really cool.
To purchase a calendar, go to tiffanycurtisphotography.co.nz or visit Classics Museum in Hamilton. There's a lot going on in the south of the region. Amanda spoke to the CEO of the South Waikato District Council, Craig Hobbs, about economic developments.
Now, you've been CEO for about 15 months for the South Waikato District. Tell me a little bit about the district that you represent.
Sure. Amanda, it's a fantastic district, to be honest. I mean, I've come to love it quite incredibly in the 15 months. We look after an area that's quite big geographically, 23,000 people. It incorporates Tirau, Patauru and Tokoroa, Arapuni as well. Aotearoa is our southern boundary, and Paieri is our northern. So, and the river is our western boundary. So, yeah, it's a very colourful area, very picturesque with the river and the likes of looking out on over to Mangatauteri and so on, which is in Waipa, but those the major features of our area.
Okay. Now, for someone that's making the move to the South Waikato, what would you recommend? Like, what does it actually offer in someone who's moving there?
Well, Central Region's a huge advantage that we have. We're close to everything. At the end of the day, it's 45 minutes, 50 minutes to Tauranga. You're 40 minutes, 45 minutes from the northern boundary to Hamilton. Taupo's just down the road. Rotorua's just over the hill. It's very, very close. It's a beautiful area as well. It's true rural New Zealand, and one of the big advantages I think we have is that we've got a very multicultural society. Big Pacific Island community in Tokoroa as a result of the mill, a large Maori population obviously as well. We have Dutch settlers, so it's a fantastic little snapshot of the fabric of New Zealand, multicultural New Zealand.
Excellent. Now tell me about the Council's ongoing and future economic developments.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of focus onto it. It's one of our major goals, is creating more jobs. So we've just recently set up within Council a business case management role, and that person will works directly with businesses who are looking to establish in the South Waikato. So we're taking all the hassle out of the regulatory and environmental issues that businesses may have. We've also just moved $25 million out of the council coffers into a fund, an investment fund, and aligned that with an economic drive trust as well. And their focus will be on trying to work with businesses, major businesses, about looking to invest in the South Waikato, looking to develop businesses, bringing them in, helping them through the process, getting them, giving them the opportunity to invest in our district.
Excellent. Now, what happens when unforeseen or, say, underestimated costs arise during the process of a development? Does this essentially mean that ratepayers end up paying more?
Look, I won't say it doesn't happen, but you hope that it doesn't. At the end of the day, if our project management processes are appropriate and we're evaluating all the risk factors around a major development, we shouldn't get into that situation. I mean, occasionally things will overrun. That's just almost, it's a fact of life. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you get into a project, and particularly around infrastructure, until you open up the pipes under the ground, you don't know what you're going to find. But generally, we'll work within budgets. Certainly at the end of the year, we've only got so much rate revenue that we can spend, so we'll rob Peter to pay Paul if we have to, if we do run over in an area. But generally, quite often we'll actually come in under budget, and we're very mindful of of what our ratepayers expect, and we actually have the lowest rates in the Waikato district, so we tend to manage that pretty well.
For more information on what the council is up to, check out their website southwaikato.govt.nz. Still to come, we check out the weather at your place. And up next, discover more about the plan to get our rivers healthy. That's next on Central News. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News. A key stakeholder group working on ways to protect the Waikato and Waipa rivers is taking a multifaceted approach to gathering information about the right path forward. I spoke with Healthy Rivers Plan for Change co-chair Alan Livingston and asked who makes up the collaborative stakeholders group and why it was established.
Now, the collaborative stakeholder group was established by the Waikato Regional Council as part of its Healthy Rivers Waiora project. It comprises 25 people, 8 of those are community representatives, and the remaining 7 are from various sector groups that have a vested interest in the Waikato River and Waipa rivers. So it's representing the wide community. Sector groups include dairying, sheep and beef, environmental groups, iwi of course, hydroelectric generation. So it's representing right across the spectrum. It's supported by the technical leaders group, so it's providing that technical expertise which is both measurable and non-measurable with non-market values, and obviously Mataranga Maori as well. So a very representative and highly qualified group that we're very fortunate to have.
Why was it established?
It was established to carry out improvements to improve the health and safety and quality of the Waikato and Waipa rivers. And logically, well, in the past we've tended to do what we believe was in the best interests and then release it for public comment and get submissions on it. This way around we're doing it by involving the communities of interest at the front end, and they're helping us develop the policy and the standards and rules, and in that way we're involving them much more collaboratively, which we think is very positive. And importantly, at the other end, we believe that there won't be the level of objection to it that has happened in the past, and which is very costly for all parties.
What is the state of our rivers like? The Waikato River, for instance, if I swim in it, am I going to get sick?
Yeah, that's a subjective question, and of course it varies widely as to the levels of bacteria, especially E. coli with regard to swimming, sediment and nitrogen and phosphorus. So from the headwaters of the Waikato and Waipa to the outlets, it does vary greatly. Probably, and you'll see people swimming throughout the Waikato River right down to Ngaruawahia. The Waipa River does have its issues with E. coli especially and sediment, which are two factors impacting on swimming. Probably the greatest impact or concern is in the lakes, the shallow lakes, and especially in summer with the build-up of E. coli there. That's probably where the greatest risk is, and of course we're kept well informed by the Ministry of Health in that regard anyway.
For more information, visit waikatoregion.govt.nz/healthy rivers. Time to take a look at the weather now at your place. Firstly, Hamilton. Showers with cold, gusty sou'westerlies and a high of just 12 degrees with a low of 3. Around the region, Thursday's not looking good anywhere, actually. Showers with cold, gusty sou'westers. Paroa, 13 your high, low of 6. Matamata, 11 with a low of 6. Te Awamutu, 12 your high and 3 your low. And Tokoroa, you do get to double figures, 10 your high with 3 your low. Tauranga, Thursday's not looking much better for you either. Showers, cold, gusty sou'westerlies and a high of 13 degrees with a low of 5. And around the bay, Te Puke, just 11 degrees for Thursday with 6 your overnight low. And that's Central News for today, Wednesday the 13th of August 2014. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you join us on our Facebook page and let us know if there's any news in your community. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. I'll see you back tomorrow night. Ka kite anō.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.